Hey, everybody, and welcome to my latest Loki series recap and review. My name is Jessica Dwyer, and oh boy, episode 4 is not screwing around. There are going to be spoilers if you're not aware, but holy shit. So, Loki episode 4. Basically ramps everything up to 11, and lots of things happened. Some theories got destroyed by the events, but one theory held true. A couple theories held true, and by God, it was good. So this episode picks up with the destruction of Lamentus happening, and Loki and Sylvie being recaptured by the TVA. But we find out a lot of things, and Loki finally manages to get Mobius to believe him and the truth of the fact that all the TVA agents are variants, and that is confirmed in this episode. Wow, it just there's a lot in this thing. Because there's only 6 episodes this season. They have yet to officially confirm a second season of the show, but they only had 6 to do what they needed to do. So the fact that they ramped it up in 4 is not surprising. So they've got 2 episodes left to finish, if this is it, this storyline. So Mobius believes Loki, finds out the truth that, in fact, the timekeepers are lying to them. Everyone's been lying to them, and they are all variants, and they have been kidnapped from their own timelines. There is a fantastic cameo by Lady Sif that keeps coming back and back and back. And I'm glad she showed up in this. And they kind of had to use her because she didn't die in the events of Ragnarok or as the rest of the Warriors 3 did, which was sad. But it was great to see her, and it was a fantastic time loop scene where Loki just keeps repeatedly Groundhog Day being kicked in the balls by Lady Sif. It's a great scene, and it teaches him humility. But as Tom Hiddleston had warned, episode 4 is also one of the lowest points for Loki. And that is due to so much loss that happens to him in this episode. That time loop with Lady Sif, pardon me, I don't want to get unplugged. The time loop with Lady Sif really brings home his loneliness and the feeling he has of being without anyone else in the universe. And for those who are surprised by how the storyline between he and Sylvie plays out, you shouldn't be, because there's a couple of reasons why. Firstly, Loki finds out that he is the only one left from, as far as he knows, from Asgard. He assumes Thor's still out there, but he's never going to see him again. He's had confirmed that Asgard's gone. Most of his people are gone. His father's dead. His mother's dead. He's an orphan again, and seems to be his lot in life to be an orphan. So Sylvie comes along and is the only other variant that he's met, and a female variant of himself. She's him. And Loki, as we know, and he admits to the Sif ball kicker, he's a narcissist. So he falls in love with himself, with Sylvie, and it sets it up in such a way that it makes more sense than anything else in the world, because not only is he a narcissist, but she is someone that he can connect with. She is, for all intents and purposes, him in a lot of ways, but she's also knows what it is to be alone and an orphan. They have a lot in common besides being the same Loki. And so what does being a Loki mean? What makes a Loki a Loki? Loneliness, abandonment, sadness, wanting to connect. That's really what we see here within this episode. That's why what happens to Mobius, as of right now, we don't, I'll get to that. But what happens with Mobius after he believes Loki and actually talks to him and gives him sort of a pep talk and tells him that he can be good, he can be a hero. We could be a hero, baby. With him being erased almost immediately after that, you have to think that in his mind, because he doesn't know any better, that Loki, he didn't get to experience all of that with Thor. He didn't get to experience Thor loving him and being proud of him and, the sacrifice. He saw it, but he didn't feel it. He didn't experience it. Seeing Mobius die, he loses, other than Sylvie, he loses the one person that ever believed in him and cared about him. And that's horrible. That's why that scene hit me hard, because you really, in that moment, the only person that's ever told him that you don't have to be the villain. You can be a hero in this tale. You can be good. Is dead, erased. And I think that is more of a motivation than anything else for Loki to get his revenge on whomever is in control of the TVA. So with that, Loki and Sylvie go forth with help from some of the surviving TVA agents. They kind of cleaned house with this one, but B-15, what they didn't realize was that Sylvie had possessed her at one point, and that's where a lot of people may have been like, well, why is she suddenly helping, and what's going on with her? Remember, Sylvie possessed her, enchanted her, and at that moment she realized something, and that's when that's why she took her back to that event, so she could get the truth at Roxcart, which is she had a life and they plucked her from it. Now, there's even more tragedy and sadness with this, and that is the fact that you have to realize that each of these variants, most likely their timelines were destroyed. That means their worlds are gone, because that's what they do. But like what they show at the beginning with the picking up of Sylvie and her timeline is the fact that they reversed everything. They left the I call them time bombs. I know they're called something else, but that's what I call them. And they reversed that timeline, so they destroyed it. That Asgard is gone. So you have to realize that each of these variants, their timelines are destroyed. They can't go home unless what we see at the end of this episode, after the fight in the big reveal that the timekeepers are robots, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, which is probably Kang, is they're all fake. They're just, basically your showbiz pizza place band. And then we see Loki right before he professes his love, that's what he's going to do, to Sylvie, gets pruned, gets erased, which I was like, oh, what? I don't think that's going to do what they think it's going to do, or we think it's going to do then. Because if they kill off Loki in the 4th episode, the Loki that we've been following this whole time, something's up. So I didn't ET cry at that, but I was surprised they went that way. What I find funny, though, before we get to the ending of this, we know Ravonna is supposed to be. I believe it's Ravonna is Kang's. I keep calling him Kang. I want to make sure I'm right about that. Yeah, Kang the Conqueror. Because I keep getting that name confused with the guy from This Is Just Me, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's Krang. Sorry. Anyway, I'm not diverging off. So she is supposed to be King the Conqueror's girlfriend, concubine. So most likely it's going to end up being Kang is behind all of this. But the other theory that we've been throwing around is that Loki actually made the TVA. What I find funny, we'll see how that plays out. May be true. What I find funny, though, is that the TVA, Mobius and company, didn't think that Loki had enough of an ego to destroy the universe or their control of the universe. If you put Loki with another Loki that's also hot and sexy and pretty, what do you think is going to happen? What exactly happened in this show, which is Loki fell in love with himself. It was such an event, this connection, and this meeting of the two, that the power created its own offshoot, and they had to stop it. And that's how they found them. And I found that funny that Loki's ego is his self-love is powerful enough to divert the universe. That's awesome. This show has some very interesting takes and ideas. And I really like it. I really love this show, and I love what they're doing with the character and the levels it goes with him. So the ending and the post-credit sequence, and if you haven't watched the post-credit sequence, you've missed the coolest, most awesome thing this show's done so far. Loki wakes up thinking that he's dead or in hell, H-E-L, and he is not. He hears a very posh voice and familiar voice tell him no, but we all will be if you don't get up now, basically. And I lost it when I heard that voice because I knew who it was. And it was, in fact, Richard E. Grant. And in fact, my dreams came true, as Richard E. Grant is, in fact, older Loki. And he is standing there resplendent in the original Loki costume. Looks like he walked right out of the comics, baby. And he looks fantastic. But not only do we have older Loki who is there, but we have kid Loki. We have another character who it's another Loki variant, and I'm horrible. I believe he's called Boastful Loki. And then you have Kid Loki. They're calling Richard E. Grant Classic Loki, which, yeah, baby. But Boastful Loki, Kid Loki, and then there's an odd alligator Loki. I'm still trying to figure that one out. If that happened in the comics, so be it. But it's the Kid Loki is holding an alligator, a little alligator with a Loki helmet on it. And it is the cutest damn thing. But we have a whole team of Lokis, and it is awesome. It is so cool. And what's even cooler about this scene is as he's looking up and you see this ruined cityscape behind him. It's New York. And it's over in the right is the Avengers Tower, and it's destroyed, or actually Tony Stark's tower, but Avengers Tower, and it's destroyed. So they are standing in what would have happened if Loki's ploy with Thanos had worked, and it's the ruins of New York. But not only that, this scene is a throwback to Avengers when Loki recovers from his Hulk smashing incident, and he looks up and everyone's posed above him, and he makes that great line of, I think I'll take that drink now. It's that shot, but it's Loki's. So you have Loki's assembled, and it's so cool and beautiful, and I'm excited. And so that is going to lead us into no doubt the multiverses of Lokis that you've seen in the trailers, including the one with him with his Loki pen and his ruined suit. No doubt. So the TVA is going to have to take on all the Lokis. That's what we're getting set up for here. And I'm really excited about that. Oh my God. Richard E. Grant as older Loki made me so happy. And just how they set that up, that shot, it's resplendent. It's great. The show has 2 episodes left for us to enjoy. I don't know, again, if they're going to do a second season. They should, because it's a good show, and they're also setting up all the multiverse stuff. And this is really, really helping set that up. So I love it. It was great. A lot of people were complaining about the 3rd episode being filler. But in one way, it makes sense that how they did that and why, because it helped create that bond between Sylvie and Loki and strengthened it. And with how this played out, that makes more sense. Also, I want to do a shout out to the fantastic little girl who plays little Sylvie. That's Kaylee Fleming, and if she looks familiar to you guys, that's because she's Judith Grimes. And it's fantastic. She is a fantastic actress. If you've watched The Walking Dead, you'll know what I'm talking about. She's great in that show. So again, this is fantastic. I keep saying fantastic, but it's so good. I loved it. I love where it's going. I have no doubt that we're going to find out. And this is before I sign off. The fact that Loki didn't die when he got erased means that all of the ones that have been, all of the characters, including Mobius, aren't necessarily dead. That means Mobius can come back. I have a feeling that's going to happen. And maybe what will happen is once the Lokis, plural, have done their war against the TVA and the timekeepers, the real timekeepers, they could put him in charge of it. Maybe he can be a time cop. Do the leg splits just like Jean-Claude Van Damme. I don't know. That would look weird with Owen Wilson, though, wouldn't it? Anyway, thank you guys for listening. Keep watching Loki. I will be back with another recap and review for episode 5. And yay, Richard E. Grant! Forever. Anyway, guys, thank you. See you guys later. Peace out.